No glasses. That makes sense. I think it will be all right. Lord Yama took his time, but he started with a bang when he started. No gradual anything. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Bhagavate
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vaivasvataya Mrityave.
Vaivasvataya Mrityave.
You can't say I didn't teach this. Yeah. Vaivasvataya
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 Mrityave
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 Vaivasvataya Mrityave
Vaivasvataya Mrityave
Vaivasvataya Mrityave
Vaivasvataya Mrityave
Vaivasvataya Mrityave
Vaivasvataya Mrityave
Brahma Vidyacharyaya
Brahma Vidyacharyaya
Nachiketa Secha
Nachiketa Secha
Etadhyevaksharam Brahma
Etadhyevaksharam Brahma
Etadhyevaksharam Param
Etadhyevaksharam Param
Etadhyevaksharam Jnatva
Etadhyevaksharam Jnatva
Yo yadichhasi tasya tat.
Yo yadicchati tasya tad.
Yeah, etadhi eva aksharam. So we have seen Om from many angles. One is it is a Vachaka of Brahman. Vachaka means it's an indicative word, it's a name for Brahman. So therefore it is not a written symbol, even though people write it. It's a sound symbol. When you hear it, it indicates Brahman. There are certain things which are symbols, visual symbols, and the name for visual symbols in Sanskrit is called pratima. Pratima means a visual symbol, whereas Om is a pratika, a sound symbol. You hear it, and the auspiciousness is produced by hearing it, not by seeing it, because it's a sound symbol. And like even the same, another word also I talked about, atha, both of them are sound symbols. So this is loaded by the Shastra. We talked about the 3 states of experience. So this is Brahman, consciousness, qualified by the waker, qualified as it were by the sleeper, qualified as it were by the dreamer, but uniquely itself without undergoing any change, like the clay qualified as it were by the pot. So the pot is incidental to the clay, correct? From the perspective of the clay, pot is not intrinsic to clay, it is incidental. Similarly, the Jagat is not intrinsic to Brahman, it is not intrinsically linked, it is incidental, means comes and goes without making a dent in Brahman. That's why incidental makes no dent. And so this has to be understood. So therefore, when you say qualified by, so it's like clay as it were qualified in the form of a pot. So the clay that is in the form of sustaining the pot, the clay that sustains the lid, the clay that sustains the cup while being completely itself. And so too Brahman, qualifies as it were the waker. So the waker consciousness is what? Brahman. The sleeper consciousness, what is this sleeper consciousness? In the Cold War days, they had some sleeper agents. Sleeper agents means they were programmed to off someone, and they were programmed through certain, I don't know if it is true, but they were programmed with certain words and key phrases. And if you uttered the key phrase, the sleeper agent would be a waking agent after the target. So, sleeper consciousness is not like the sleeper agent. Sleeper consciousness means what? Consciousness that is sustaining the sleeper, the sleeping person. Dreamer consciousness. So, what is common in waker consciousness, sleeper consciousness, and dreamer consciousness? Consciousness. This much we should be able to know, okay? This is one of the prerequisites of Vedanta. This much we should be able to tell. So what is the common thread? The common thing is consciousness, prajna. So you can say the prajna of the waker, bahish prajna. The outside prajna, prajna here is consciousness. Prajna, N with a little tilde on it, prajna. So, see, the bahish prajna means outside consciousness, means that the waker consciousness, the waker is aware of everything that is happening in the world around him or her. Then antaf prajna. What is antaf prajna? Inward consciousness, the sleep consciousness, dream consciousness, aprajna, all these things. So the common thing is prajna consciousness. And that consciousness does not gather dust from the waker, does not gather wool from the sleeper, does not gather some castles in the air from the dreamer. That consciousness shakes everything off. It is uniquely itself, and that is Om. And that Om is who?
Brahman.
You. That is you. Om. Yeah. That Om is you. That Om is Brahman. Who is Brahman? You. Yeah. So that Om has to come home. That is the whole idea. Om has to come home. Om has to roost in the home of the heart. That is the whole idea. And so this we saw. So etadhi eva aksharam. Aksharam means the imperishable one is Brahman. Etadhi eva aksharam param. Param means absolute, not relative. Who is the granddaddy of Om? Om is Brahman. There is no granddaddy. Yeah. That is Param. There is no granddaddy, there is no grandmommy, there is no, another consciousness saying you exist. No. That's why I keep asking the question to bring the Om home. I keep asking the question, are you here? What do you say?
Yes.
Yes. And this time it didn't take time because we have been studying this for I don't know how many weeks. It's going in. So therefore, are you here? What is the answer? Yes, I am. So there is no other granddaddy coming to say that you are here. Correct? You don't have to check up with anybody. This is what is meant by self-standing, self-revealing, self-evident consciousness, which is you. which is the meaning of the word Om, which is the meaning of the word Param, absolute. It is not dependent on anything else. But the whole Jagat depends on its existence on this Brahman alone. But Brahman does not depend either on the Jagat or on some grandmummy or granddaddy to say, please, I need a prop, So therefore what? So this is Param. Etadhi eva aksharam jnatva. So there is only one thing, correct? Which is worth being called a thing. What is that? Brahman. Oh, what is Om? There's only one thing. All the other things are really no things. Yeah. As good as nothing. So if there is only one thing, and if I am ignorant of that one thing, then what am I ignorant of? Everything. So if I know a lot of nothing, what do I know? Nothing. If I know a little bit of nothing, how much do I know? Still nothing. Yeah. So therefore, the penchant for focusing outward on the things in the universe. And what kinds of things? These dependent things. Dependent on what? Me, ultimately. Me, which is Param. And they are what? Not Param. How do you say it in Sanskrit? Aparam. You just put a for consonant ending things to negate it. Or you put an for vowel beginning things. Like Atma, Anatma. Param, Aparam. Yeah. So everything is Apara. I am the only one that is Para. So if I know a lot of Apara, what happens? Apara. You don't know Para. So if you spend the time knowing a lot of Para, then Apara, then Para gets way-sided. It gets, thrown on the wayside. And that Para happens to be myself. And the ultimate of every Apara is what? Para alone. So which to choose? Let's decide. Which kind of knowledge to choose? Para or Apara? Para, for Vedantins. But the correct answer in the Mundakopanishad that is given is both have to be understood. Yeah.
One included.
Yeah, both have to be seen. Dve vidye veditavye paracha aparacha, the teacher says. So apara has to be known enough to brush teeth and go to work and pay the bills and bring up the children. This much you have to know, correct? Yeah, so to perform certain basic duties. And the fun part is, apara vidya, apara ignorance, you don't have to do anything to draw. You just turn on Google. That's enough. Google is full of, what's its name? Apara knowledge. You can Google anything. Even your grandfather, you can Google. Ancestry.com. You'll find great-grandfather will be there. And you can Google anything. And so and Google is full of apara knowledge. Apara means what? Let us just not. Not absolute, relative. Meaning dependent. Mithya knowledge is called apara. Mithya means dependent. Dependent on what? Para. So the apara knowledge, apara ignorance automatically drops. Once I turn on the internet, I come to know more than I wanted to. Google will have 2 million results. And then, certain people will have paid more for their results to come on the top. Yeah, this is also there. In fact, I get emails. Ashram website, if you wanted to come, in front, pay us $25 a month. They send emails like this, 25, 15, something like that. You have to pay. And I just said, no, it's not necessary. Because if people are looking for para, they will find it. They will find it. They will find it. And so we don't have to do this. And so therefore, this para and apara ignorance. So two kinds of ignorance one is born with. When I say the jiva is born in ignorance, we are talking of two kinds of ignorance. Ignorance of the absolute, which is what? Para ignorance. Ignorance of the relative, apara ignorance. Now the interesting thing is that the apara ignorance drops by itself without you having to even move a muscle. Think of a 2-month-old baby. You try to hold it, it will come to you. It will go to anybody who is holding it. Even if somebody were to hold it by the, one hand, it will still be okay because it has to trust, it doesn't have an option. Same baby, you leave a gap of 6 to 7 months, and at 9 months you try, holding the same baby again. It will say, who are you? You're not my mother, you're not my father. I don't know you. You look suspicious. And I'm not going to come to you. It will hang on closer to its caregiver. This is what is. So the mother ignorance is gone. The father ignorance is gone. This is my people. These are my people. This is my house. This is my cat, my dog. Gone. Apara ignorance keeps dropping on its own. Then the child grows up, learns how to tie the shoelaces. Shoelace ignorance gone. School ignorance gone. How to mingle with other children ignorance gone. A, B, C, A for apple, B for bat ignorance gone. 2 plus 2, 4 ignorance gone. And so like this, apara ignorance keeps dropping on its own. Plus when one becomes an adult, one pursues a certain course of knowledge called major in college, correct? That is also apara ignorance dropping. So you major in one thing. Then perhaps you get your master's in that, then you get your doctorate in that because you didn't have anything else better to do. And then you keep studying. Is there an end to it? No. Apara is endless. Apara is endless because the more you go into something, the more you know how less you know. Yeah. Even in medicine. From head to toe, there are various doctors. There is one wrist specialist. Yeah. Beyond the wrist, they don't talk about the elbow or the forearm or the fingers. For that, you have to go to another person. Yeah. You only deal with the wrist. And as the specialty keeps growing, and then you have everything. Podiatrist, only the foot. Nothing more. Dermatologist. The knowledge is skin deep. That's all. Beyond the skin, don't ask anything. Why these rashes are coming? Don't ask. That you have to go to somebody else. So like this, you have all these the specialties which shows in the universe that this apara is a huge, unending thing. This is the nature of mithya. It is endless. Because it shares Brahman's DNA, which is Anantam. It is limitlessly limited, but it's limited, but it is limitless. It's limitlessly, it is limitless. Each thing is limitless because you keep trying to find out the origin of that thing, which is not in that thing. That's why it becomes limitless. You keep looking at one star. How does it behave? What does it do? How, what is happening? And then you find out that you don't, after a while, you cannot answer the question. What is this? Mango in winter, okay? Yeah. Mango in the middle of winter. All right? And then what is this?
Apple.
Why this is red and that is yellow?
Different name and form.
Yeah, different name and form. That's all you can say. Otherwise, if you are a scientist, you will say, well, this has a lot of vitamin A, and then things that have vitamin A have this particular yellow-orange color, and you can say that. Then why? Why it has that yellow-orange color? Why vitamin A things have this color? It's the nature of beta-carotene. Why this beta-carotene behaves like this? I don't know. You have to keep saying, I don't know. So apara knowledge is a dead-end knowledge. Pun intended, deadening knowledge, dead-end knowledge. Because it doesn't lead you anywhere. And this is what is exactly talked about in the 15th chapter opening of the Bhagavad Gita. It's miraculous. And what does it say there? Urdhva moolam adhash shakham. So this upside down tree, the roots are not available for objectification because apara depends on you. So every answer to that apara is Brahman only. And if you don't know Brahman, you cannot know apara. And apara will never satisfy. So apara is needed and it happens, but you can become a big rishi without knowing para. But knowing apara does not automatically grant the knowledge of para, number one. And number two, while the apara ignorance drops on its own, without you doing anything, you just have to, be in that right situation and then it drops. What happens to para knowledge? Para ignorance does not drop on its own. You have to choose it, and this is what is going to be said later. You have to choose this knowledge. Yamevaisya vrinute tena labhyah. Here, how to get this Atma is talked about in the next chapter. It says, Nayam Atma pravachanena labhyah na bahuna shrutena. Yame vaisha vrinute tena labhyah. You have to choose to know that one thing. You have to choose to know. Because all other ignorance drops on its own. The Atma ignorance does not drop. Why? Because it is not opposed to anything. It accommodates everything. Yeah, that is the nature of Om. Atma doesn't say, why are you ignorant of yourself? I'm going to give you a beating. And I'm going to make straighten your priorities up. You may not know this. How many lifetimes have you spent? It's not going to have this conversation with you. It is not opposed to anything, including ignorance. It accommodates the ignorance. And when I say, for example, I am ignorant, what is happening? That light of knowledge is shining on the ignorance and bringing the ignorance to light. Yeah, that's all. It just brings the ignorance to light. It's not opposed to ignorance. That's why, recall Nachiketa's question, Anyatra dharmat, that which does not come under any category or divisions. That which is beyond divisions. And the another division is what? Ignorant, knowledgeable. That's also a division. So this transcends that. So when you understand I don't know, that means that all knowledge Atma is telling you don't know yourself. That's all. It accommodates that. So therefore I have to, when I know that I don't know, I have to retrace the steps to gain this param. And so what does that entail? That entails an honest look within, less of the apara pursuits. Viveka, that is Vairagya. Viveka, the discrimination of what to, that is that honest look of what is really to be pursued. Purushartha Nishchaya. What out of the 4 Purusharthas, what are they? Dharma. What is Dharma? Correct living. Purushartha means what? Let us get that clear. Human goals. Dharma, what is Dharma?
Correct.
Yeah, righteous living. And then Artha, security. Kama, aesthetic and pleasures, sensory satisfaction, and then finally moksha. So really there are not 4 purusharthas. 4 are just there from the point of view of the intoxicated person who sees 4 in the place of 1. Yeah. The drunkard, you do a test, a sobriety, homegrown sobriety test, and you say how many fingers, and what will the person say? 4. And he will name them also. Dharma, that one over there is Dharma, this one is Artha, this one, yeah, that is Kama. Oh, and that looks like moksha because I don't see it very clearly. The most elusive of all. Meanwhile, there is only one goal. I want to be free. That's the only goal. And that freedom comes from knowing myself as Param, the Absolute. It is, what is there to think about? No, I think I'll go home and think about it. What is there to go home and think about? Why is this not clear? I'm asking not you, the world at large. Why is this not clear? What is so difficult about this choice? I'm asking the whole world at large. Why is this so difficult? This is the Upanishad also asks this later on. I'm just precluding it and asking it today. What is so difficult about this? There's nothing. This is a no-brainer. That I want to be free of needing security. Because everything that I am pursuing in the name of security is para or apara?
Apara.
Apara. And if I pursue apara, what happens? Dead end. So, and all of these were so-called pursuits, these fourfold human pursuits, the first three, just guarantee a relative standing, a certain amount of security, a relative standing, but they don't give the absolute. Even dharma is just guarantees a seat in heaven, that's all. What kind of heaven? A non-eternal heaven, apara heaven, yes. Yeah, because eternal cannot be away from you. If heaven is away from you and you have to go there, it is non-eternal. Heaven has to include you if it is eternal. And if it doesn't include you, if you are separated from it, then that cannot be eternal. No, we just mean to say you are separated from it by ignorance. Okay, then that is what we are also talking about. Let us continue. So then all of this is, apara only. So the apara pursuits, the human pursuits, purushartha, are what? Dharma, artha and kama. And in and through each of these, and we saw this earlier, shreyas and preyas, correct? Mm-hmm. So when I choose preyas, shreyas is not included. Shreyas is para. Preyas is apara. Preyas means that which is dear. Shreyas means that which is exalted, the ultimate, pursuing which there should be no other pursuits. I should not be left longing. That pursuit which gives me complete satiation, complete contentment is this para. And what is this para? Om. What is this Om? Brahman. What is this Brahman? Me. Yeah. That is what? Etadhi eva aksharam param. And then what? Etadhi eva aksharam jnatva. From jna to know. Jnatva means what? Knowing. Having known. Having understood. Etadhi. Having understood this. Having known. And this is very interesting because it doesn't say having experienced. Because what we are talking about is something that is never away from experience. When you are experiencing sadness, you are experiencing Brahman. Really. It is Brahman that is the experiencer. It is Brahman that is sustaining this as though apara sadness. It is that Ananda that is upholding the sadness. Yeah, and when you tell yourself that, the sadness goes away, honestly. Doesn't touch. The one who is upholding the fear is the unafraid Brahman. Sustaining, projecting as though the fear, accommodating this so-called apara fear. So the param alone is, and I have to choose to know the param. It's not a matter for experience or somehow I'm going to intuit it. How are you going to intuit it? The one who intuits is Brahman. Happens to be Brahman. And so therefore, I have to, this is a cognitive pursuit. This is not some kind of a, feel-good pursuit. It's a cognitive pursuit and I have to be ready for it. So, etadhi eva aksharam jnatva, what happens? Because knowing the only thing that is to be known, the only thing worth being called a thing. So, if I know para, is apara included or not? This we have to understand. Here also there is a certain kind of a hit or miss, mostly miss. And so there is a missed take, not a mistake, a missed take. What is that? I think I'm giving up a lot of things by pursuing para. Where is the movies? Where is the magic? Where are the malls? How do you spell mall? F-A-U-L. That's where you go and get mauled. So, at least the pocketbook gets mauled, even if you come out intact. So from movies to malls, sometimes this is what it is. The Acharya who writes the companion to the Mandukya Upanishad, Shankara's grand guru, called Gaudapada. Gaudapada says, I don't know what is wrong with these people. Abhaye bhayadarshanam. He says, in that which is the source of fearlessness, people are afraid of fearlessness. He puts it very well. Abhaye, in that which is the Abhaya, seventh case, Abhaye, which is not Bhaya, Bhaya means fear. So in that which is the source of all knowing which there is no fear, people are afraid. Because they see what is a mistake. What is that mistake here? Svanasha. They see a decimation of the individuality, which is why people drop off from this pursuit. What individuality? Please tell me. Oh, I like this movie and I don't like this. Is that your individuality? So what you liked when you were 2 years old, you still like that? Once in a while I suck my finger when no one is looking. No, that is not the point. What we are talking about, likes and dislikes that are so temporal, so time bound, upon which one base not only, bases one's whole identity is based on this shaky house of cards. What cards? Raga Dvesha cards. Yes. More than 52 of them. A pack of them. Huge pack of Raga Dvesha cards precariously arranged in a certain pattern, and I show you that and say, this is me. And not only that, people get married on that basis also. Yeah, they go to a website and enter their likes and dislikes. Ayyo Rama. Yeah, and then at least and then people make fun of Indians. Oh, everything is arranged marriage. At least the horoscopes date, in India. The horoscopes date in the astrologer's house. Yeah, this is what happens. The horoscopes are collected by the astrologer, his and hers, and they date in the house of the home of the astrologer, and the astrologer sees certain planetary configurations and then deems them. At least we are relying on Bhagavan, because the planets really are Bhagavan. And here, just a bunch of Ragadveshas interacting with a bunch of Ragadveshas generated by the printout of the computer. Yeah. Single.com, Yeah. Whatever it's called. Match.com. Yeah, that is the one. Yeah, where singles go. Yeah. Single.com is not a nice name. They will not sell anything if they do that. So match.com. And then you go there to get matched. And then you meet your match. That's what happens in every single way. And then what? Then you have to run to a guru. Why? Because Viveka immediately comes. I shouldn't have gone for this. And then Vairagya soon follows. This is what happens. Yeah. So Match.com keeps the gurus in business. I suppose, I don't know. But this is what it is. This is samsara. We have to understand this. That so that we base our identities on what? We base our identities on ephemeral things. Likes and dislikes. And the likes and dislikes, by the time you say I dislike, you have already changed. And that is the main reason why people who love each other cannot get along. And they cannot get along. Why? Because the likes and dislikes, when you don't know para, apara becomes para. Correct? The non-absolute is treated as the absolute, which is why there is personality clashes between friends, between partners, between, employers, employees, wherever you see, between neighbors, between anybody. Business partners, anyone. You see the clashes because one is relating on the level of the relative, but thinking that it is the absolute. And so this just the apara knowledge doesn't lead anywhere. Yeah, doesn't lead anywhere. So if I know apara, I don't know anything, and if I know para, I know apara. This is something. But how is it that if I know para, I know apara? So will I start speaking Chinese if I didn't do so already? No, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, because I know what is the priority here. And maybe I will never learn Chinese. Maybe I will not speak Chinese. But then I will not have a complex about it either. That is the whole idea. That is the whole importance. Yo yad ichhasi. Ichhati means ichhati. Yo yad ichhati. Whoever, whatever they desire. Ich, to desires. Ichhati, ichhataha, ichhanti. Yo yad ichhati. Yaha, the one who desires, yad, whatever one desires, tasya tat. They gain that. In gaining that, which is the source of everything, I gain all the relative is included in the absolute. Absolute is absolutely not included in the relative. So the choice is very, very clear. And then the next verse says, etadhyevalam vanashreshthah etadhyevalam shreshtham. Shreshtham or shreshthah? I didn't bring my glasses. Yeah. etadhyevalam shreshtham
Etadhyalambanam shreshtam
etadalambanam param
Etadalambanam param
etadalambanam jnatva
Etadalambanam jnatva
brahmaloke mahiyate.
Brahmaloke mahiyate.
Yeah, so etad alambana, we have seen alambana means Brahman, Om as alambana. You know, alambana means the Shastra has loaded the word Om with the sleeper, waker, all these, the consciousness, that is called alambana. Etad alambanam shreshtham. This is the most exalted thing, because in knowing Om, I know the waker, the waking world, the sleeper, the sleeping world, the world in resolution, and then I know the dreamer, and the manifesting universe. I know everything. This is what it is, really. And so this is the most exalted knowledge. Etad alambanam param. This is the ultimate knowledge. Etad alambanam jnatva. Knowing this alambana, then what happens? Brahmaloke, in Brahmaloka, loka here, loka generally means a field of experience, like heaven is a field of experience. Here Brahmaloka means it's not a place in one of the lokas. That is not the idea. The person rejoices as Brahman. Yeah, the ignorance is gone. Self-ignorance is gone. So the person rejoices. We have already seen this. Then of course now the akanksha, the excitement is created. Kim tat Brahma. What is this Om? What is this Brahman? That knowing which everything as good as well as known. How do I understand this Brahman? So can you please tell me a few things about the Brahman? And that is what is the next verse. Najayate mriyate va vipaschit.
Najayate mriyate va vipaschit.
Najayate mriyate va vipaschit.
Najayate mriyate va vipaschit.
Nayam kutaschanna babhuva kaschit.
Nayam kutaschinna bhavuva kaschit.
Ajo nitya shashvatoyam.
Ajo nitya sasvatoyam
Puranaha.
Puranaha.
Nahanyate hanyamane sharire.
Nahanyate hanyamane sharire.
This verse has been lifted by the Bhagavad Gita in the second chapter with a slight variation. There it is, Najayate Mriyate va kadachit. Instead of vipaschit, it is kadachit. Yeah. Kadachit means at any time. Here, another word is used, vipaschit. Jayate mriyate va kadachit. Nayam bhutva bhavita bhana bhuyah. Ajo nityashashvatoyam puranah. The last two lines are the same. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Where is this from? Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. Yeah. Same verse with a slight modification in the first two lines is given. Very, very beautiful. So let us see the meaning of the words first. Na means what? Yes, correct?
No.
So na means
No.
no. Jayate means what?
Not living. Living. Oh, born.
Ah, not born. Not born, unborn. Na jayate. And this na has to be put for all the words. Na mriyate. Yeah, doesn't die. Is not subject to death. First, it is not born. But there may be certain things that are not born that come to an end. Like what? What is one example of that which doesn't have a beginning but has an end? Ah, ajnanam. Ignorance, self-ignorance doesn't have a beginning. If you say, where did this ignorance come from? Don't let people trick you in that. Because then we'll be going into a little, vortex of our own making. Because if you say, what is the risk of saying that, of positing, this postulate we have to see, of positing that ignorance has a beginning. What is the risk? Because what was there before ignorance?
Nothing.
No.
So.
Knowledge. Because knowledge and ignorance are opposed to each other like darkness and light. So if there is no darkness, what is there? Light. So ignorance, has a beginning, let us say. Ignorance was born in 5000 BC. So before that, what was there? You have to say knowledge. And so if knowledge comes to an end, then only ignorance can take over. That means what kind of an ignorance it is that has usurped knowledge. And then what is the point of getting self-knowledge? Because it is again going to be usurped by what? Ignorance. So therefore ignorance doesn't have a beginning because it is a certain notion of separation. It doesn't really have a reality. It is mithya. Yeah, it is apara. But then it comes to an end. So unlike ignorance, this thing that we are talking about, what is this thing? Om Brahman I. Okay? Yeah. So this thing that we are talking about, this vastu, does not have a beginning. When was Brahman born? When is Brahman's birth date? I don't know. Yeah. No birth date. Why? Because Brahman is not born. So when is Brahman's death anniversary? No death date. Because Brahman, if it's not born, it's not going to die. Va means what? Or. Yeah. Neither is it born, nor. Here it means nor, because it is used with nava. Nor. Nor does it die. Not born, not dies. Who is this, who doesn't die or is not born? Vipaschit. Vipaschit means the intelligent one, the wise one. And here there is a nice pun on vipaschit. It can refer to the Atma alone, the self which is wise, because it is the source of everything, it is all-knowing. Or it can refer to what? It can refer to the knower of the Atma, which is non-separate from the Atma. Correct? Yeah. So that is the little pun there. So then the next one, na ayam kutaschit. Kutaschit means the one which does not have any origins. No granddaddy. I told you this already. Yeah. No source. Why? Because there is nothing preceding it. Yeah. It is not an effect of anything else. Na babhuva kaschit. Nothing has really come out of it either. What do you mean nothing has come out of it? Just now we said Jagat Karanam Brahma. Whole Jagat has come out of it. Yeah. As though, big as though. A few things we have to know if we are going to be Vedantins. What is that? Pot clay. Then gold ornament. What else?
Rope snake.
Rope snake, definitely we should know. Mithya Satyam. As though. Yeah. With that you can impress all your friends. Yeah. At parties. And so here what is there? This is the Jagat has come out of Brahman much in the same way as the dream has come out of you. Without leaving a residue on you, the dream shines in its time, in its place, and then it is folded back into you, which is your own consciousness, your own knowledge and memories. That is the dream. You can never dream of something you don't know. Oh, but I dreamt of a person with a tail of a monkey. Well, you know a person, you know monkey tail, you know people who behave like monkeys. So, just a little bit of creative imagination. That's what the dream is all about. That's the matter for the dream anyway, right? So here, your own knowledge alone is the dream. You cannot dream of something you do not know. And so, therefore, the Jagat is the knowledge of Brahman, as though manifest, like even a dream, without having Brahman undergo any change. So, Ajaha, so neither is it really speaking the cause, nor is it caused. The second line only means that. Na ayam, not this, utaschit, means it has not come from somewhere. Yeah. It doesn't have any antecedents. Na ayam babhuva kaschit. Neither has it become. Babhuva means become. It has not become the Jagat. This is what the idea is. It has not transformed into the effect. Neither does it have a cause other than itself. It doesn't have a cause, and neither has it transformed into some kind of an effect, a time-bound effect. No. So this is a typical way of teaching. First you negate, na iti, not this, not this, not this. And the not this, not this, not this, the negative comments knock off the ignorance. And then the positive one, vidhi mukha. And the first one is called nisheda mukha and vidhi mukha. Nisheda means negation. Vidhi means the positive statement of what it is. Because it's not enough to say it's not this, it's not this, it's not that. It's not the cause. It's not the effect. It doesn't have a beginning. It doesn't have an end. Okay. It was never born. Neither does it ever die. Okay. Then how do I know it's there? Correct? You can come to a very Buddhistic conclusion. What is that? Shunya. Atma is zero. Atma is non-existent. Who says this? The existent one says, I am non-existent. Yeah, that existent conscious, the one who is aware of one's own existence is negating that existence. It's like the 10th man not counting himself. That's all it is. So I've told you this story, right? This another stock Vedanta story. 10 people going on a picnic and the ultra-zealous monitor wanting to make sure everyone has come back. Apple polishing, the guru apple polisher, and he counts repeatedly he counts as they go, and then he finds one missing just before they go into the ashram, and he's all upset. So this is really, you cannot discount yourself. You are very much there. Even to say I'm not there, you have to be there, correct? Yeah. If you're not there, how can you say I'm not there? If you're really not there, you cannot say I'm not there. So then may not people go away with the confusion that the Atma is zero, which becomes a big school of philosophy. That Atma is Shunya. Shunya means zero. In fact, we don't have a word for zero. Did you know that? in Sanskrit. We don't have a word for zero. So how do you express 2 minus 2? What shall we say? We don't say zero. We say pujya, means the most worshipful one is left. 2 minus 2 is pujya, not shunya. We have a word later on, it was crafted, shunya, non-existent. But non-existent of what? A relative non-existent. We don't talk of absolute non-existent. There is no mango in the palm of my hand. Why? Because it is here. No, it is not there. So we have to ask what and where. So only the non-existence of apara to cognize, we have a few words. But when you say 2 minus 2, when you derive the sum, what are you left with other than the observer, the deriver? And that deriver is the most worshipful one. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. So when each time you say non-existent, it's so beautiful. It leaves you. Each time you say, this is not there, that means the cognizer is there, and that cognizer being the para of the universe, that's the only thing that is there. And that's the most worshipful one. It's so beautiful. It's just lovely. So we don't have a word for zero because there is no self-negation, no self-abnegation. Only the negation of ignorance we have to do, and then this I being, self-standing, self-revealing, self-evident, everything is taken care of. So then what? Then we have negated all the things it is not. It is not time-bound. It is not subject to birth. It is not subject to death. It is not the source of anything. Nothing has come out of it. Neither has it transformed into something else, nor has it come out of something else. All right, get on with it already. What is really it? Ajaha. Ajaha means what? It is not, born. It also means goat, but we are not calling the Atma names. Aja means mountain goat. We are not calling Atma goat. Here Aja means unborn it is, and then unborn means it is always there. Nityaha. Nitya means what? Eternal, limitless. Shashvataha. Shashvat means it unchanging. I am this. Puranaha. Puranaha means it was there long, long ago, and it is ever, and because it was there long, long ago, Atma must be very tired, must be having tantrums, must be having a bad hair day. No. Puranaha means what? It is ever fresh, ever new, even though it is old. It was always there, so it is quote unquote old, but it is always fresh, it is never tired. And so Puranaha, and then the best part is saved for the last. Na hanyate, is not destroyed, is not killed. Hanyamane sharire, when the body is destroyed, it is not destroyed. Because the body is as though suit for Atma. A nice 3-piece suit, yeah. That's all it is. Why 3-piece? Waker, dreamer and sleeper. Yeah, with a little bow tie. The body is a suit for Atma, and then, and it really, this particular body that the Atma is donning really suits that person. That is exactly the name and the form, and that is what the Atma has taken on, like even pot space. Do we agree that there is space in the pot?
No.
No?
Yes.
What? What is in the pot? Other pots. Okay, all right, I'll take those out. All right. Do you agree now that there is space in the pot? So if the pot space doesn't know that I am Om, I am Brahman, I am clay, or whatever it is, not clay, pot space cannot be clay, that I am space, if it doesn't know that, and if it has a human mind, right now it would be feeling very insecure. Because it will say, these big pots constantly swallow me up. That's why I'm crackpot. And I have so many cracks. And I'm not good enough. I'm useless, I'm hopeless, helpless, I'm a karta pot. What is a karta pot? A doer. Yeah. I don't have any job satisfaction. Once in a while she picks me up, the rest of the time I'm just there in some dark place. I'm a bhokta pot. Everybody insults me. I don't have a good life. Correct? And the pot space also has its own problem. I am confined in this pot. Now first the pot complained. Now the space inside the pot also is complaining. What does it say? I don't like life. I need more elbow room. I want to be one with space. Is space in the pot or is pot in space?
Yes. Both.
But really speaking, the little space feels cramped. Does the little pot space, in order to quote unquote unite with the big room space or the big outdoor space, have to break open the pot?
No.
It has to understand it is one and the same. So too the Atma in the body is wearing a three-piece suit of the waker, dreamer and sleeper. And it is just perfect for that particular expression of that particular word and meaning, name and form. It is beautiful and it is infallible. It's just wonderful. But when the body is destroyed, in case the body is destroyed, either through some, accident or at the end of the life, naturally, however it is, then the Atma is not destroyed. It cannot be destroyed. Because why? It was never born. It does not, that was already told. So you cannot ask why it cannot be destroyed, because what was said in the beginning? Na jayate is not born. Na mriyate, it does not die. Neither does it undergo any change. So the I continues as long as we place the I in what? Not in the body. Oh, the mind then? No. So the body, mind, senses, again a three-piece suit for Atma. Sleeper, waker, dreamer, three-piece suit for this consciousness, Atma. Consciousness is that which cannot end because it doesn't have a beginning. So like space, where is the limit of space? No limit. And if few more planets come, does space feel crowded? No. If a few more planets die off, and stars, they become dwarfs and they go, will the space feel, thank God, good riddance, more space for me? No. In fact, the definition of space is like this: avakasha pradatra akasha, that which accommodates. So too this Atma, that which is limitless. So it does not have any kind of constriction. Even though the body feels like a constriction, it is not. The body feels like a constriction because of my own ignorance and my own notions connected to the body. Yeah. That is why in the Hindu tradition, we start the day with self-worship. Really, honestly. You take a shower and it's just like bathing. What you do to Bhagavan, you do to yourself. You take a shower and you have a mantra that says, this is for the pureness of the indweller. The indweller which is free of raga dvesha, free of guilt and hurt, free of all kinds of sins and wrongdoing, free of all kinds of afflictions. May the outer cover for this inner being match that. So therefore I cleanse the outer. That is what it is. And then when you eat also, it's a worship. It's a worshipful act to eat because you're assuaging the hunger, not really for the body, but for the indweller within. And that indweller is always seen, this is what one is taught from childhood. It's really a blessing to know this and to practice this, because you cannot have low self-esteem. If this is there, all the problems and issues about I am not worthy go away, in time. Just take a minute. This is what, in Buddhism they call it mindfulness. It's the same thing. You just are mindful And not just, mindlessly mindful. Okay, I'm eating. No. Mindfully mindful. How to be mindfully mindful? To know that this indweller is the most perfect being, and that happens to be myself. Yeah. Free of death, free of pain, free of sorrow, free of any kind of afflictions. Free of bodily afflictions, free of mental afflictions, free of complexes. Such a beautiful thing. And a very important verse. More about that. I will have a few more things to say next week. Om Purnamadaഃ Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Questions? Yeah, you've been waiting. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because you actually brought up what I was thinking about asking, that you mentioned. So as I saw Dalai Lama in a movie, he went to the Mela and he talked and he said, oh, you say Atma, we say Anatma, no difference. So it's just a philosophical that they're just not counting the observer in Buddhism?
No, see, the thing is, I think that the Tibetan Buddhism is slightly different. The Tibetan Buddhism is very much similar because they have devatas. They have deities that they worship. And the deities are seen as Bhagavan, really. So they are not opposed to that. But there is some funny thing in the philosophy itself of Buddhism at large, where the point is to, because there is a lot of confusion surrounding what Buddha said. This is the problem with most religions which have a founder. Because now the founder cannot be found, right? And so when the founder is not there, we cannot go and ask, Buddha, what did you mean? Or revered one, what did you mean? We cannot ask. And so, and when the founder is silent on certain topics, there is a vagueness and a kind of a certain kind of a shadow because one is not clear. And so everything is mithya. You falsify everything. And then so when they talk about emptiness, the more older strains of Buddhism, like the Zen, and they say emptiness means empty of form, and that means you're a Vedantin. We also say empty of name and form, but we don't say emptiness personified. So there is some confusion because when you keep talking of mithya, then without satyam, then mithya itself becomes satyam. Okay, you keep trying to negate something that is not there. Yeah. We don't try to negate mithya. We negate it cognitively, but really the point is to integrate it into that satyam which is I. That's why he keeps hearing me saying non-separate, non-separate, non-separate. Ad nauseum I keep saying that, Nobody has thrown up, that's all. So I keep saying that for this reason. This confusion, that non-separate. So there is the oneness that is advocated by Vedanta is not opposed to anything else. It even accommodates the two-ness. Somebody who says Ishvara is different from me. Sure, I never said you are Ishvara. I can see that person's point of view. But what we are positing, if the person is ready to see a view beyond that of the devotee-devoted relationship, which is wonderful, which is fine, but that's not the end. So we are not opposed to that. We are just saying there is something more to this than just that. That's what it is.
Yeah, I have a friend who's Hindu. She's sending me these pictures of what's going on in like
Bangladesh, very horrible things are happening.
Very horrible, and it's like, I don't know, when I see the pictures, I don't even know what to feel or think. There's nothing I can say, and then I think, what must it be like for those people thinking that they're, quote, doing the right things by studying Vedanta, but all these bad things are happening to them?
Well, it's not easy to do the right thing. That's what we can say. It's never easy to do the right thing. It's hard. So we just have to be prayerful. If something can be done, we have to do it. Oh, there are 2 layers.
Yes, 2 layers.
Soon we will have a way of distributing prasad over the net. I don't know how, but this is what we are having. looks intriguing. Oh.